Everybody has good and bad takes. Hot takes are basically the spicy ones. I asked you guys to give me your hottest Zenless Zone 0 takes, so I could make a video about it. So here goes. The first hot take comes from Traumatized Otaku, and they say Seed Senior and Seed Junior should have been two separate characters, with a team-up similar to Ben and Koleda. That mechanic needs to return because it's actually interesting. The thing is, I know that you wanna split Seed into two characters just to ditch the girl, and I don't like that. Nuh-uh. I feel like they're way too connected for them not to be the same character. They're even both called Seed. Seed, as in the robot, is supposed to be like this big and like very powerful robot, right? Like you want him to hit and have that oomph, you know, like he needs to hit hard. And the only way to balance that out would have to either make him really slow at attacking or have him have some downtime. And that downtime can be covered by Seed Jr. I think that's a brilliant idea. I feel like this is a very overlooked compromise that the devs decided to do and put a lot of effort into it. They could have just had Seed as like the robot model, you know what I mean? But there is a separate one and they both attack in like different moments. I actually much prefer the Seed that we're getting. I guess that's my hot take that I'm throwing in there. I actually do like Seed, despite the reveal of the girl being inside and piloting it, but despite all that, I actually still really like Seed. Next one, Nekomata is not a bad agent, she simply needs the right team to work, alright. Alright. I feel like this is definitely a hot take, but like only the first part. As in, Nekomata is not a bad agent, like, of course, bad agent is in comparison to the other agents, right? And she simply needs the right team to work. It's kind of like, I feel like you can make any unit work in the right team. What people measure is how much they work, you know, how much they perform in these teams. And Nekomata is pretty bad, but that does not mean that you can't clear with her or anything like that. You can definitely clear. The next one is just, I like the TV mode. And a lot of other people actually commented the same thing, like maybe elaborating their points and whatnot about TV mode. This is definitely a hot take, because way back when Zenless came out, or for example when it was in the beta, everyone always complained about the TV and saying that like the TV mode is like holding the game back, basically. It's just like, it's actually horrible, just remove it and whatnot. And they actually followed through and removed it, and now like a chunk of the community actually misses it and wants it back. I think TV mode was absolute garbage. And I am not gonna sugarcoat it. I said this many times while live, here on YouTube and on Twitch, that when I started playing the game I was really hooked, and I really wanted to play it, and I felt like I couldn't play it. As in, like, I was always stuck in the TV mode for storytelling, for, you know, segments in the holo. It was always a TV mode, and that's garbage. I didn't want to play that. I wanted to see like the characters, for example, like their dialogues and whatnot. I wanted to see my character in combat in the holo. Like, I felt like I liked the game, but the TV mode was like keeping me away from the game I love. You know what I mean? So I definitely have a big hatred for TV mode, and I'm glad they got rid of it. It made the story feel very disjointed, because in these very long sections of TV mode, I basically have to look at this and pretend that I'm actually inside here with these characters doing this stuff. Meanwhile, now we have a hands-on view. I really don't know how to describe it, but we can actually see what's going on. When I look at the stories past like 1.4, like, I can kind of like in my head picture like a location and stuff that I was doing in that story. You know, like when I think of 1.4, I think of like stuff that happened in Port Elpis. Think of 1.5, I think of stuff that happened, I think like in the holo near Bellabog Heavy Industries, I think. I'm not sure. When I think of 1.6, I think of Port Elpis, and 1.7 Port Elpis. I guess there's a lot of... I guess we've been to Port Elpis a lot. When I have to picture these stories, I actually kind of like remember them with the places and whatnot. When I think of, for example, when I think of the public security chapter that we got with Zhu Yuan and Qingyi, most of my memories are actually TV mode. The same goes for like the Victoria housekeeping part. And that in my head leaves a lot to be desired. So I much prefer TV mode being gone. Caesar without her signature is worse than Ben. I don't think so. I actually have both Ben and Caesar built, so I've played both like a fair amount. And I genuinely have no idea where this comes from. She gives you hyper armor. Her shield makes it so you cannot get interrupted, unlike Ben. Caesar also gives 1000 attack and 25% damage vulnerability to the enemies. She actually does a good amount of days when you get her defensive assist and do her counter EX special. And the way you activate her additional ability is actually easier than it is for Ben. I would like to know where this comes from though, because like I really don't see how can Ben be better than Caesar. Anyways, Corin is a good agent, but you just need Caesar. Interesting. Interesting that this comes right after the other guy saying that, you know, Caesar without signature is worse than Ben. Maybe you could try using Ben. I don't know. I think that Corin is a lot more reliant on Astra than Caesar, because Astra gives you more chain attacks, and Corin's chain attacks multiplier are pretty high, if I remember correctly. I don't really know this Caesar. Oh, it's not to get interrupted. Oh, I get it now. I can definitely see her like needing Caesar to be good. Even then, like, nothing wrong with that. Haven't tried her though, so I can't say if she's a good agent or not. Next one, Miasma Shield is a good addition to the game. Ooh. This is actually a pretty good hot take, because people are very split about it. I feel like, I think Miasma Shields are inherently neutral, because how good or bad they are on certain bosses depends entirely on what the boss does with it. For example, the Miasma Priest goes into like this rage mode or something, keeps like doing a bunch of attacks, so you get prompted with a lot of defensive assists, so you can get rid of it quickly if you actually get those defensive assists. While the other boss, the one with physical weakness in Deadly Assault, I forget the name, that one has its own mechanic in which like you gotta go and you gotta bait the attack, and it's like that gets rid of a lot of the bar. Like, I think I like both of these, but I'm just saying that there could definitely be a boss that has one of these, mechanics that I actually fucking hate and I cannot stand, but so far it hasn't been the case. So I feel like if you have an issue with Miasma Shield, it's probably because of the enemy that you're facing. For example, like Doppelganger Hugo or Doppelganger Jane. That, like, I think they're like there's a variation of them with Miasma Shield. Like, for example, those suck, but it's not because of the Miasma Shield. I feel like identifying the problem really helps here, because I don't think it's the Miasma Shield. And if I can add my own take to this, I think I do like Miasma Shields, because they allow the boss to actually use their own mechanics without being bypassed with like some bullshit. I don't know, let's say like you freeze the enemy, or like you stun it, or like, you know, I just feel like the Miasma Shield really allows the boss to do its thing, showcase its own mechanic, and then if it's bad or not, it is based on the boss, as I said earlier. I think the Miasma Shield being a mechanic that allows the boss to be able to do their thing is a good thing on its own. But I can definitely see it becoming like a problem or a bad thing. Miyabi is the most attractive woman in the game. Corin, Nekomata, Shinji, Sukaku are too childish in looks or are children, and every other woman is overly exaggerated to a point where I don't find them hot. Miyabi to me has a realistic body goals while having her anime feel. Horrible take. Do not ever disrespect my wife Nicole like that. Don't you do that ever again. Though in all seriousness, I think that body proportions are something that you kind of get used to in the game. As in, like, yeah, they definitely look jarring, especially when people started pointing out, like, for example, Yishuan's arms compared to, you know, her bust. But it's something that, like, I get used to, and then I start kind of, like, not noticing anymore. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I want to clarify that saying that Miyabi is the most attractive woman in the game is definitely not a hot take. If I had to say the most popular character in the game, I would definitely say Miyabi. Next one, we need more costumes for underrated characters, not just the Gunner bait. Lycaon deserves better. I mean, I think with time they will get skins eventually. It's like, I feel like eventually they will make more skins for more characters. Especially if they ever come back in the story and have like, you know, like if they have a reason to have an outfit change, I definitely think that Zenless will go out of the way to make an outfit and then make it a costume. I think we just gotta wait for this one, I'll be honest. Oh, this one is actually really interesting and I want to get into it. Defense agents are the worst agents, both in playability and fun terms. There should be more defense agents that feel fun to play as. I feel like this is so interesting because the most fun mechanics that the game has, in my opinion, are the defensive ones. And something that I would have really liked for Zenless to do, but unfortunately I think it might be a little bit too late for that, was for defense characters to be the only one with parry mechanics. Like at this point we have it on a bunch of characters, right? Like we have Evelyn that has her dodge with her EX, Alice does it with her EX as well. Yanagi can parry, Miyabi can parry, Yishuan can parry. Like I feel like these things should have been exclusive to like the defense character. Like when Zenless came out and the only defense character was Ben, like I really thought that that was the direction that they wanted to take the defense characters. Like the defense characters are the ones that have like a focus on, for example, defensive mechanics, like defensive assist, like parries, you know, like the, you know, dodges and whatnot. Like I think that would have been like a really cool. So for example, defense characters would have been the kind of characters that excel in fights in which the enemy attacks a lot. I feel like defense characters, I definitely think that defense characters could have been much more than what they actually turned out to be. But it's not too late. It's not too late. Here are some quick changes that they could actually make to make defense feel like it actually has a place in the game, and it's actually pretty cool. Defense characters should not use any defensive assist points. Always be able to use a defensive assist. As in, sometimes like characters are like stuck in animations, so you can't do their defensive assist. I feel like defense characters should always be able to do it. If you press spacebar, they're instantly gonna do it. Maybe do that by having them have faster animations with their defensive assist. And I think they should be able to proc the defensive assist even if they're the one on the field. If there's no available target in your team that could get that defensive assist, by pressing spacebar, you should be able to do like a defensive assist with your defense character on the field. Like for example, you have Ben on the field, you just parried a defensive assist, you're getting prompted with a second one, you press spacebar, and Ben just defends that second attack also, without spending any point, without doing anything like that. I think that would be cool, and would kind of create a place for them in a game. Seed's design is pretty good. I'm talking about both the mech and the girl. Oh my god, yes! You and me both! Bomb T9 eggs, you and me both! I actually do like both, the mech and the girl. You know what? I'll give you a like and a heart on the spot. This for some reason is a hot take. Why is this a hot take, man? Next one. People who hate Wise make no sense. Just cause his fans are annoying doesn't mean you gotta hate the character. They also say he's basic, when both Wise and Belle are basic representations of introverts and extroverts. Almost every character in the game can be summed up in a sentence or two, but that isn't a bad thing. I didn't even know people were hating on Wise, I'll be honest. I feel like most characters can be summed up in a sentence or two if you look at them on a surface level. I feel like Zenless actually does a pretty good job at kind of like fleshing the characters out and giving them a little bit more depth. Like, of course, their personality is gonna be kind of like a Le woman likes Le Dennis. But at the same time, they do have moments to flesh out, like, you know, these characters' aspects. For example, I used Nicole as an example earlier. We get to see her backstory in one of her teasers. In the story, she also just goes out of her way to save us, kind of like showing that, you know, like she has this aspect of like greediness and whatnot, but there's more like underneath it. I think most characters are like this in Zenless Zone Zero, and that does include the protagonists. I don't really know what else to say. I'll still say Silver Squad came from Yishuan's DNA. This is wrong. Get it into your head. It is not true. Stop with this bullshit. Because like some people will unironically think that this is just part of the game's lore. Like for example, a lot of people recently have been saying that like Sita is an amputee. And it's like, where did this start? Where did you guys read this from? It is not set in game yet. If she actually turns out not to be an amputee, what then? You'll have like half of the player base actually convinced that she is. The game needs more male agents. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there isn't much to add. Next one, Harumasa is fun to play. And I actually agree with this. I think the harder the character is, the more it's rewarding to like actually do good at the character. Harumasa is definitely the character that comes to my mind as like hard to play in Zenless Zone Zero. So when you play Harumasa and you actually like get a good score or like a good clear, or even if you didn't get a good score or a good clear, if you feel like you played your cards right and got like, for example, a lot of like dash attacks in the stun window, it feels rewarding. It's like very fun. Like I definitely agree that he is fun, but he's difficult to get into. And until you get into it like a lot, he's not fun. The next hot take. I'm still convinced Officer Miumu is an otter. Why? I mean, it's just... I mean, I guess I could kind of see the resemblance, but it's like clearly a cat. I don't really get where this one is going. Anyways, next one. Soldier Ambi doesn't deserve all the hate she gets. I still love her, even if she doesn't get to see much use nowadays. I wasn't planning to pull Soldier Ambi, but I did in the end, and I think she's fine. Remember that there was like a lot of doom posting saying that like she's bad and whatnot. I think that stems from the fact that there are some characters that are clearly better than others. For example, Miyabi and Yishuan, right? And when you compare Envy to those characters, then, you know, you have like this big gap. But I think it's fine. Like, I think having characters that are like labeled as a Void Hunter or Grandmaster or whatever that is, kind of like establishes like a ceiling of power level in the game, which kind of prevents like some major power creep issues, like Starrel, for example, had, because you don't want to make a character that's more powerful than Miyabi unless it makes sense in the lore, or she's a Void Hunter, or he's a Void Hunter. I definitely think that the hate for Soldier Ambi is overblown, as in, she's definitely not that bad, but at the same time, now that we're getting Seed, they actually announced that she's getting buffed, so... Free buffs, I mean, I'll take them. Seed's kit kind of overlaps with Soldier Ambi, so they kind of just wanted to create a better identity for the character. Or maybe just improve her numbers, I'm not sure. I guess this isn't a hot take, this is probably the take that the devs agree with. Alright, I feel like I went over quite a few of them. If you have some more hot takes, leave them in the comment section of this video, and let me know if you want to see more Zenless Zone Zero hot takes. I'm kind of like experimenting with this idea. So if you want me to make a part 2 of this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, alright?